last time when we were having our conversation, we are thinking about social acceptance, peer acceptance, but this time round with transactional value. Transactional value is what am I gaining in this, what am I bringing in, and what's my target. And I don't know about you, maybe we can start on human relationships. Are human relationships, all human relationships, are they tied to a transactional value? Like I lose something, I gain something. I give something, receive something.
Sadly, yes.
Yeah.
Sadly, yes. And not that all of them are manipulative, but clearly, the reason we attach ourselves to some people, some individuals, whether they're friends, whether they're spouses, whether they are the family members we are close to, it's because there's something we're gaining from them. And I'm talking about stuff to do with growth, stuff to do with a transaction of values, stuff to do with building myself. All right.
Yeah.
So the reason why I'm choosing Jeff to be my friend is because I've seen something in him that that can benefit me as an individual.
Yeah.
Like I've seen he has his life together, and I'm trying to have him communicate that to me. All right. Now there's nothing wrong in that, in my opinion. Like, because I'm getting influence from this relationship. I'm getting influence from this friendship, and it's making me a better person, and it's also making me a better person. I see nothing wrong with that. Again, on the flip side, we have the negative transaction whereby I'm here because of this, and the day you stop giving me that, I walk away.
Yeah.
I'm here because I'm your friend because you're in a position of power and influence, and I need a job in your organization. So the day I get that job, that friendship has served its purpose.
Yeah.
I am in the world of the youth, and to be a friend so that I can have sex with you. Once you give me that, we're done. Yeah. So those transactions, they'll always be there in human interactions. I don't think you'll want to be close to somebody who's not adding value to your life. Right?
Value addition is key.
Yeah, it's key.
We can't do away with that.
You
want someone who challenges you, pushes you to greater heights. People who understands, people whom you think they understand your goals, your dreams, and what you're up to in this life. People will check in and say, look, I think where are you so far with your project, whatever you're working on. In a way you want that. It's not something you can entirely do away with. And I think maybe in other words we drop in reciprocity, but in a world of social acceptance, that I have to be there, be giving something so that I receive something. What happens, I think you have already mentioned it in passing. What happens when I no longer do it? What happens when I'm incapacitated? I can't be giving whatever is expected in the relationship. What remains,
Friendship is something very dynamic, and as you're putting it, getting into social space, especially of individuals who share same value. The day you cease to contribute something to that community, that society, you're rendered useless. And so, sadly. And so whether they'll tell you or not, there is a way your contract there is already terminated. Like, you'll just be there in body, but in spirit, in mindset, they'll have already kicked you out of their system. And so that brings, the consequence of that is that you'll find individuals who, they reach at a point where they can no longer contribute, but they fake it so that they can fit. You reach a point where, let's say, I know of circles and chamas whereby, they're contributing X amount of money every week or every month. Then one of the members maybe loses their job and they can no longer contribute that amount of money. But they still want to fit in that system, because this group is not just about money. This group is giving you a key that can, help you unlock opportunities
Many
and stuff.
opportunities, yeah.
And so they do all they can to fit in that group. This is a group whereby if they're having their meetings, in that meeting maybe they have it in some space whereby it allows them to interact with some other individuals. And so this individual doesn't want to lose that. Yes, he's incapacitated to make that contribution monthly or weekly, but he's not ready to lose what this space is giving them. And so what do? They get into debt,
Yeah.
They sell stuff at home so that they can keep contributing,
Yeah.
And it's quite a sad story. Unfortunately, we live in a world where majority of the people don't interact with people for who they are. And if you meet somebody who interacts with you for who you are and not what you can give, man, you're blessed.
Square mjinga.
Square mjinga, don't blow that opportunity. Because these people don't come by every day. We don't wake up to such people every day.
We pray for that grace.
We pray for that.
We pray for that grace,
Yeah.
Yeah. What I've been thinking, I read some documentaries, about euthanasia.
Right.
People deciding nowadays we massage it with assisted killing or something.
Massive killing.
Yeah. And some doctor I think it was in Australia was trying to get euthanasia because he has done the work he is supposed to do in this life. He's a grandfather and he's feeling he's draining his family, taking care of him in his old age. He realizes that now with old age productivity level goes down. Now it feels like I'm no longer productive in your space, and I think maybe the best I can do is let me die. You don't need to worry so much about me and all that, And people, I kept thinking about this guy, and the guy is trying to send a message of you live in this world only because you're productive. Life is tied to productivity. So at my old age, the best I can do is to live and go away. I've had problems sometimes, and it might be my personal opinions. When my parents have taken care of me up to where I am, they are growing old, yes. And then it reaches a time when I know they are no longer productive. They have to entirely depend on the sons and the daughters. And what we do, because we don't have time, we are busy out there fixing life in the world. We have left them at home. We decide to say, look, because no one is willing to be driving or coming home every single day, let's take them to elderly homes, foster cares. I feel like I have issues with that, my subjective opinions, because I feel somebody who took care of me when they were able, and I wasn't able. I should just do it. I shouldn't say I give that responsibility to someone else. It doesn't matter the kind of amount of money and the places where I'll put them. I will desire if they get all in the homes where they raised us from, in those 2 rooms they raised us from, in that shamba they have been calling their shamba, in that apartment, no matter how old it is, they have raised us from there, and I will want, if anything, take care of them in that space, or even make it better, just same space they have been calling home.
Part of my ministry, I minister to the sick and the elderly, and it's always inspiring whenever I visit these people. Back in the day, before I began that ministry, I used to feel like, okay, this is life. You're young, you get old, and your day reaches and you exit this world. But ministering to these people has given me lots of unspoken lessons. One of them is the fact that if you have a chance to take care of your parents, please do. You get into some houses and you're there ministering to them, and they tell you, by the way, so and so, that's my son, and the name he has mentioned is a big name in this country, but you're in some slum somewhere whereby the ventilation of the room is a problem. rain is dripping whenever it rains. Food, there is a problem whenever you're like, that's your son or that's your daughter. I mean, doing big stuff in this country. And it keeps you wondering what went wrong. Of course, some might argue that sometimes there are some toxicity in families, and one decides one day that, look, if you're going to drain me, I better exit this family and just be on my own. But I still feel like parents are some of the people who we can never substitute. You can always have another brother, you can always have another sister, but you'll never have another mother, you'll never have another father. Sad story. If you have chance to take care of your parents, man, do it while you still can, because once they go, that's it.
That part of life is done, Sorry, man. So I think in many ways reciprocity is key. It is important. Now, what is danger? The danger in saying our age brackets, wherever we are, and the transactional value, it isn't there. It doesn't exist. Friendships die. The social spaces lose meaning. People call it quits. Now at what point will you know it's time to quit? In social spaces where you feel you have been existing, but there is nothing of transactional value. You have heard of people saying, I was in a toxic relationship. You have heard of people saying, I think it wasn't helping me grow.
First of all, I am a full-time subscriber of the idea that if it's not helping you grow or glow, don't hesitate to let it go. Right? I subscribe to that a lot. But before I reach to that point, I believe in dialogue. I believe in having a candid conversation with the other party. Tell them, man, look, we've had a very, very good friendship. We've had a very, very good relationship, and we've made memories that I'll forever cherish in my heart. However, I feel this is not feeding me anymore, or I feel I'm not giving you the energy you need. Is there something I can do about it? If there is something we can do about it, fine. But if there is nothing we can do about it, instead of making this environment a toxic one, let's give each other a handshake and call it a day.
Yeah, it was fun being there.
It was fun being there. It's a sad, by the way, that thing is difficult and sad. It's not easy to walk away from home.
What you have been calling home.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Or changing homes.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy to walk away from a friend whom you've had memories with, you've made memories with. It's not easy to walk out of someone who they've known you, like they know the challenges you have, they know the ambitions you have, they know what you call life, they know what you're working on as an individual, and you're just leaving. It's not easy, but at some point you need to leave.
That time comes,
That time comes when you have to leave, but it's a sad reality.
Now, should you give it should you mention it? Should you make it explicit? Should you say, I think it's time we quit? Or some people, you have heard of natural deaths in relationships. You allow it to die naturally.
Personally, I believe in making it known. Of course, clearly, it reaches a point where the vibe is no longer the same. The energy is no longer the same. And it's not that it comes in one day. No, it begins building up slowly. And then at some point, you just realize, hey man, this thing, it's not working. I believe it's important for you to let the other party know. Why? Because the other party might not be analytical as you are to realize that this thing is no longer feeding both of us. And so they'll keep investing in it. Yet you withdrew long time ago. You've heard of situations whereby it's funny. You've heard of situations whereby you are with a lady in a relationship. Of course, you're not in that, but just assume you're in a relationship with a lady. Then at some point they tell you, hey man, I think I need a week just to be on my own. Then during that week, let's say the third day after she's told you that, you bump into each other somewhere and she's with someone else, and now they have to, she has to introduce you to them and him to you. And what they tell you is that, hey, meet John, this is my boyfriend. And you're like, I thought we had a thing. Like, no, I walked out of that relationship 3 months ago. But you didn't tell me. I've been investing in this. Quite a sad story. So I feel it's important for the other party to know that, hey, look, first of all, not that we are quitting. No, first is, this is the problem. Can we find a solution for it? If we can't, then let's call it a day.
Loud and clear. Natural deaths?
Natural deaths do happen. They do happen a lot. And I think it's because we massage our ego. We live in a world whereby it's difficult for us to say the words such as I am sorry, words such as I am weak, words such as I'm the one in the wrong here. And so we fail to do that and expect the other party to know that. But unfortunately, they don't always know it that way. And so when we are walking away slowly, the death happens naturally. The friendship fades away, the relationship fades away, the marriage fades away, and it's quite a sad story. You've heard of a saying whereby it says, I think it was actually in a movie whereby this girl is with this guy, and some guy passes, and they exchange a contact for some considerable amount of seconds. And so this guy asks her, do you know that guy? Then this lady responds, I used to. This is a familiar stranger. It's somebody I knew, but right now I no longer know who they are. Why? Because there was a natural death in what we had. Quite a sad story. That one day I look at Jeff and say, hey man, I used to know that guy.
We used to do this thing now.
We used to do these videos.
It's so your idea is we better make it explicit.
Yes, we better make it explicit.
We talk about it and say I think we have to quit it here.
Yeah.
Do we see it coming?
Sometimes you don't. You've heard of this song by Adele, Hello?
Adele?
Yes.
I haven't heard of her.
So this song says, hello, how are you doing? Okay, it's actually Adele, I think, trying to seek forgiveness or something. Okay.
Someone like you? From
No. The line that touches me most is that hello from the other side.
I heard you broke up?
No. I've been trying to call, at least I've tried to call 1,000 times to let you know that I'm sorry. But at least I've tried saying that, The idea here is that at least I made you know that, man, this is not it. At least I made that effort. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, human interactions are complex. The more we advance in life, the more we realize. When we were kids, life was easy. Yeah, we'll meet in the streets, we play football, shirtless, without boots, and in the evening everybody goes back home, we meet together, we fight a little bit, life goes on. But right now, you're not even fighting physically, but the chaos that exists between the two of you, it's quite interesting. I know of people who get into organizations and the first day, as interns, everybody likes them because they have this charm, because they have this capacity to be good people, better people, and people support them. And then it reaches a point whereby they want to see him do good, but not better than them. And that's where the chaos comes. Because if you're being promoted into the position of an MD and I'm the MD, that means I'm going to lose my job. So what do I do? Crush you while I can. And human interactions are chaotic as a young adult. Yeah. The best we hope for is to have a genuine and kind heart and hope that the other individual also has the same. Because as we keep saying, there's no harm if we all win.
Yeah, and if you realize you grow and you can establish something similar, you walk out and build another and have your own system running.
That's difficult because one of the reasons, in my opinion, in analysis, one of the reasons why most of the people in our generation are refraining from relationships and marriages is that the fact that I've been into, this relationship or this marriage with this individual, and we've done all we can for, let's say, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. Then it hasn't worked out. All right, so we fell apart, whether amicably or not amicably. Now, if I'm going to get into another one, that means going to get back into this, having to learn their language, their love language, having to understand how they operate, having to know how they love and how they want to be loved.
Their love language.
And that's a lot of work. Someone says, no, I'm not ready for that. Let me focus on making money. No, I'm not ready. I've done that before, and I'm not ready for that right now.
And you've seen, I think it has been easy for friends turning into relationships because we have been knowing each other sometimes. I don't need so much to, so
actually,
people just switch.
Actually, there is a concept these days, I'm forgetting the name, but the idea is we are friends, and we've been friends for long, and so we make an agreement, a contract, that by a certain age, if we don't have marriage partners, we'll marry each other. So like at 35, if I haven't found a wife and you haven't found a husband, we'll just do it. It's a thing. I used to think it's a joke, but it actually happens in our world today.
Friends turning into lovers.
Because somebody's saying, man, it's a lot of work to get into another relationship. It's a lot of work, trusting that they'll understand who I am, and having to understand them is another hell of an assignment.
Yeah. And that is something,
Yeah, it's sad.
And that is something, Wow. I think this is beautiful. Human relationships are, the way we are saying, they are very, very complex. Very complex. There's a need for a chemistry, biology, and the physics of it.
Yeah.
No one teaches us that. Probably our remote preparations, probably proximate and immediate preparations as we grow in life, they don't serve the nitty-gritties of it,
Yeah,
our parents, I don't think if they will offer everything, our teachers, some of them will have to learn, so keeping an open eye and open ears and, learning, how to interact with human persons, I think along the way is a needed reality, is a needed package.
The other day I attended a seminar on emotional intelligence and social intelligence, and the presenter was saying that human relationships is all about managing. It has nothing to do with friendship. It has nothing to do with love. It has everything to do with management. And it was quite a controversial one because that means it's just a matter of gameplay. You're playing with other guys.
Emotions.
Managing emotions, understanding
their energies.
And so I asked them, man, don't you think there's more to life than just being managerial? Because if I'm managing stuff, that means there is an outline I have, and I need everyone to follow that,
A manual,
And so he responded and told me, man, sadly that's what it is. If you can't manage other people's emotions, then that means you're going to have a rough time with that relationship. Then I asked him, how different is that from psychological manipulation?
Faking things, manipulating things. Everything walking my path. And people study that. People study how to plan things using other people's personalities.
Yeah.
We don't walk in
the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Dale Carnegie. Dale Carnegie. Robert Greene is someone not to be followed blindly, The Power of Seduction. You have heard of those titles. Art of Seduction. I mean, you don't need to follow those books blindly. They make you a machine, but you fail to become a human being. Maybe.
There's one I read, how to deal with difficult people. Okay, I mean, this is something we all want to. We want to learn how to deal with difficult people. But the basic tenets of that book is that, man, you just have to manipulate them. Which...
That must be written by a disagreeable. The guys who are disagreeables. You are Jordan Peterson. He keeps categorizing human persons into agreeables and disagreeables. Disagreeables, they know their way and does it and does that. Agreeables will have elements of understanding.
Bargain.
And I think life is more of that. Trying to, what are you saying? What am I saying? Where can I come in? To what extent? And you realize that takes lots of energies. No one is ready for the bargaining. We are busy fixing life, and it points us to those directions. So I think the best you offer?
The best you offer is that
social acceptance, transactional value, reciprocity.
First of all, I think the best you offer is to be in circles that are genuine and they interact with you for who you are, and not what you offer and not what you can do, but just who you are. If you're lucky to get that, man, you're blessed. Honestly, big time blessed. And also create an environment around you where people can come and feel like Sam is interacting with me for who I am and not what I'm offering. Sam is interacting with me because I am a human being and a subject, not an object of extortion, not an object of manipulation. And we hope we all win in this life.
The best you offer, man. We hope that we all win, You know what I'm thinking about all this? If I can get into human relationships and make sure the energies that I bring in is what is being accepted, the best that I do, my abilities, and without extra struggles, without trying to feel I'm struggling to exist, to find my space in here. I think it will be a big win. Like it is me when I'm coming and they asking me, what are you bringing in? And my response is, I'm bringing me.
Yeah. There's an interview you are in, so maybe just to finish. So this guy, after his interview, he used to ask, in case we pick you, in case we choose you, what are you bringing? And innocently, this friend of mine said, we have a big farm at home. I'll bring a sack of maize. Hey, let's call it a day. He clearly never understood the question. Anyway, let's call it a day. Thank you so much for viewing. We really, really appreciate it. I'm thinking in the next season we should include a portion, a section of understanding human interactions. Because I feel it's key.
Okay.
This season we've been talking about mental wonderland. I think the next one we should do something on human interactions, because that's a big thing.
It's a hack in life,
Yeah, it's a hack in life. Once you know how to interact in these social spaces, I think
humanly,
yes, without manipulation, I think you are placed in a better angle of succeeding in life.
I think it's what religion is asking of us, is what probably that's what Jesus will ask of us, what Muhammad will ask of us, and Buddha will want from us,
All right, thank you. See you in the next episode. Thank you so much for being with us. you.